financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is Chapter 13 saves your home and zeroes out credit card debt. Good morning, Pat Sinesco. You have switched seats with Brian. Is this
to the hot seat?
This is the hot seat.
This is where you can hit me with your hand. You got enough.
So this means Brian's at, good morning, Brian, you're out of range.
Indeed, Ken, I am out of range, but I just thought we'd switch things up a little bit this morning.
It's a new year.
It's
Shake
a
it
new
up.
year.
It's the new year.
Good thing to do. Jeffrey Linden, good morning.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, there.
It's the chair.
I think Jeff got new glasses too. So
I didn't.
didn't?
They
look new.
It's
Oh.
your impressive powers of observation at work again.
Oh, well, it's a little early this morning.
They're
so-
actually better than mine, so give them some credit. Okay, so here we go, although 10 times 0 is still 0.
Amen.
Basics of Chapter 13. Before we get into, just give me the rundown, Brian, on what is a Chapter 13, when is it used for? Not the long 20-minute version. Give me the 2-minute version.
Okay. Well, Chapter 13 is a
Time up.
Wow.
Okay, go ahead.
Chapter 13 is a form of bankruptcy. It is a form of reorganization. Quite often, people get into financial difficulty, and instead of being stuck, they could pay something but not pay everything. So we can restructure their debt and make it affordable while allowing them the opportunity to get rid of it over a period of time.
So what is it? How is it different than Chapter 7?
Well, so Chapter 7 is what we call debt elimination bankruptcy. You wipe out the debt, get a fresh start completely. Chapter 13 allows you to pay what you can afford instead of paying what the banks are demanding.
Why would you pay what you can afford if you can just wipe out the debt with a Chapter 13?
Well,
Chapter 7.
Not everybody's going to qualify for a Chapter 7. There's monetary requirements. You make too much money, you don't qualify for Chapter 7. You have too much in assets, you don't qualify for Chapter 7. So, and let's say
So is Chapter 13 the alternative?
Chapter 13 may be the alternative. There are other non-bankruptcy alternatives also.
All right, so when is Chapter 13 the best play?
It's the best play when, for things like you've fallen behind on your home and you want to catch your house up, and the bank is demanding that you catch your house up today. And if not, they're going to foreclose. In the meantime, through Chapter 13, you can restructure your debt and take up to 5 years to catch yourself up.
All right, so let's kind of talk about mortgage foreclosure. Okay, so mortgage foreclosure, what are you allowed to be before the bank starts foreclosing on your home?
So, for a standard mortgage company, if you fall behind 4 months, 120 days, they can then begin the foreclosure process. Go to sale, sell your house, and you got to be out in anywhere from 6 months to a year, depending on the amount of equity you have in your home.
So one thing that when we had the financial crisis back in 2008 to 2012, 13.
You mean we're not in one right now?
Well, it's different in that we had procedures that were in play then that gave us an ability to try and get a modification to a mortgage, and there were state laws that were coming to the rescue, and there were federal programs that were more bona fide. Now
there are still programs that exist. They're internal to all the mortgage companies. They've adopted many of those procedures that were in place in 2010 to 2014. But the Home Affordable Modification Program, that's just what you're talking about, that's gone. So it's purely
I
voluntary.
just got to stop. It's this seat. When he's sitting in the middle, he's more eloquent, he's more direct, he doesn't ramble on. It's the seat.
Apparently, because you're just going and going.
So
and
you're
going.
going to be rambling on now?
Yeah.
This is the ramble.
Yeah. Wait, I got a story to tell. Just kidding.
In cars, they used to have a ramble seat, didn't they?
There's a rumble seat.
Rumble seat.
Rumble
That was for
Okay.
the in-laws.
I'm
Alright,
sorry to interrupt
so-
you. Go ahead, Brian.
So all right, so those programs really aren't working now because people don't even know to avail themselves. They're the 120 days behind, and then at that point, the lender doesn't want to give you the chance to apply for a loan mod.
It's purely voluntary with the lender, and it's quite often where you would have expected a loan modification to be approved, they're denied. And the reason is, the biggest reason is because of the amount of equity that people have in their homes today.
So the lender knows they can foreclose and get the house back and
Yeah.
not take a loss.
Do they look at the state tax bill on that, or for that determine?
No, they believe it or not, they look at Zillow, they look at
They actually look, though.
Realtor.com.
Is it your job to look, or is it the trustee's job to look?
Well, in bankruptcy, we have to assess the value of the home. We utilize the homeowner's interpretation of the value, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, the SEV. We look at all those tools and see what the feel for the value is. Sometimes we even have to get a written appraisal done.
So what's the due date? When do you have to file this Chapter 13 to stop a house from going into
So
foreclosure?
if your foreclosure sale is scheduled for Wednesday, you better file no later than Tuesday. You can file up to the last minute before they sell it at the sheriff's sale. However, the reality is that you better do it no later than the day before. Weeks before is better.
So if you electronically filed at 12:59 p.m.,
And the sale was at 1,
the sale would be
sales
void,
stopped, yeah.
even though the sale happened,
Yes.
because they didn't know you filed.
But there's
Have you ever had one that close?
I've had one the same day.
Yeah.
What happens if it's 1:01 and you
And the
file?
sale went to, and it happened at 1 o'clock, you're done, you lost a house.
You lost the house. You
Yep.
still can redeem it, but it takes.
Yes, you have the legal right for the right of redemption.
6 months, assuming you've only paid less than half of the balance of the mortgage, or less than 2/3 of the balance
Yeah,
of the mortgage.
well, it's 6 months right of redemption. If you have more than 50% equity, you have a 1-year right of redemption.
And so the key here is to stop for so is Chapter 13 the method to stop foreclosure as opposed to Chapter 7, or can you use
Believe
Chapter
it or not,
7
Chapter
to stop?
7 actually will stop a foreclosure. It puts the automatic stay in place. It doesn't stop the lender from proceeding to foreclose. They can get permission from the bankruptcy court to foreclose.
So I don't see how that's a solution, but after the break, tell me whether it is or it isn't.
It's a new year, full of hope. With hope comes the reminder that you need to protect your future and the future of your loved ones. THAV GROSS is holding a free estate planning seminar April 19th in our offices in Bingham Farms. We will discuss the importance of having a will, a trust, and powers of attorney. And yes, it's absolutely free. You need to protect yourself and avoid the probate of your assets when you pass away. To sign up, call us today at 888-235-HELP or sign up at thavgross.com.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Samasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, "We'll get through this, we'll get through this."
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Samasco Law got the success they deserved.
Samasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Are you in financial crisis? Do you owe too much credit card debt? Are you behind in your mortgage? Do you owe the tax man? These are the problems that many people face. Solutions exist. If you want to know what they are, come to our free seminar on March 8th in our offices in Bingham Farms. Sign up at thavgross.com or call us today at 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. And take your first step to a fresh start today.
All right, so we're back. So my question was this. If Chapter 7 can stop the foreclosure, then why not do that rather than do Chapter 13?
Well, as I started to tell you, the Chapter 7 will temporarily stop the foreclosure, but the lender can get permission from the bankruptcy court to proceed with the foreclosure.
Well, will the lender get permission, or
Yes,
can he get permission?
they will.
So the Chapter 13 gives you 5 years to pay,
Right.
but Chapter 7 doesn't.
Well, no, the only reason you would file a
Correct
chapter...
or incorrect?
That's correct. The only reason you would file a Chapter 7 to stop a foreclosure is to buy more time in the house.
Like 30 or
before
60 days.
Before you're walking away.
Okay. All right, so let's say you're 7 months behind, and your payment's $1,400 a month, $9,800 behind. If you file a Chapter 13, you can pay that $9,800 over 60 months, which is $163 a month.
That's correct.
What happens to the interest that on your interest rate from your arrears and then?
So there is
going
no
forward?
interest that gets paid on the arrearage. The arrearage will be paid at 0% interest, so that $9,800 gets paid back.
So it kind of gets frozen.
Yeah, it is frozen and gets paid back at 0% interest. Your mortgage, of course, continues to accrue at interest because that's a long-term vehicle that's owed
then-
money over the next 30 years.
And then if I owe $300,000 on the mortgage and $10,000 of it is what's behind, isn't the interest still accruing on the $300,000?
On the principal balance, not on the arrears.
But you still haven't paid
Well, the
principal.
arrears is part principal and part interest.
But it's already accrued.
Okay. So it
It
actually.
gets paid at 0%
Okay.
interest.
Now, how does property tax foreclosure work?
So property tax foreclosure is similar to what a Chapter 13 can do. It will stop the property tax foreclosure and will allow you the same 5 years to catch up.
All right, so we've got taxes going to foreclosure when this year? What year's going to foreclosure?
This year it should be, I believe 2021 is going to foreclosure.
No, 2020.
2023.
2020.
2020, yes.
Yeah.
So he's going to foreclosure in 2023.
2020 is going to foreclosure. So March 1, 2021, taxes went to the treasurer. March 1, 2022, the property's forfeited. February 2023, that's the Zoom judicial hearing to foreclose for the taxes.
You have to have filed your Chapter 13 before the judgment of foreclosure is entered by the court.
Which is
Meaning
March of 2023.
Which is February.
No, they enter the judgment in March, and then
Whatever, I don't have my dates, I'm sorry, but it's, you have.
they're in the
you have to-
outline.
They are indeed, I see that.
See, we have these outlines that are created by some person
I read mine every morning.
who takes the time to do the outline every show and feed them to the panel.
The key with my dad was to be farthest away when he does this.
Yeah.
He can't get
And the person who does the outline feels pain and
Listen,
sadness.
whatever it comes down to,
when
whatever the
panel
date
has
is,
not read it.
whenever the date is, you better have filed
So-
your Chapter 13 before the judgment is entered.
And the point that I was just emphasizing, if you're behind on your property taxes from 2020, you're in the buzz moment right now, February to March, where you need to either make a deal with the treasurer and catch up on those taxes, or put it in
So
Chapter
here's
13?
the problem
And
with
what's the benefit? Yeah.
Well, here's the problem with the deal with the treasurer. They have a one-year program. So let's say you're behind a year. You've got to pay that year that you're behind in a 12-month period while you're paying your ongoing property taxes at the same time. That's the condition. So you're not falling any further behind. You're literally, they want you to catch up in a year while paying the year.
Which is a big financial burden.
It's a much bigger financial burden than, say, paying it over 5 years.
And then wrap it into the next thing. You've got credit card debt, you've got medical bills, and you've got other things that you're dealing with. You throw them all together into the pot into a Chapter 13, and you're using that 5-year period to get the benefit. Let's do a case study.
Well, just before we hit that case study, the key is through Chapter 13 is we pay the most important debt first and the least important debt last. If anything, we pay them.
So if I loaned you $100,
Okay,
And
so now we're in fantasy land.
and you were filing a Chapter 13, in my view, the most important debt would be to pay me back my $100.
Yeah, but
Right.
Is that how it would
Here's-
work?
here's what'll happen.
You're an unsecured creditor. Okay? Unsecured creditors are the least important creditor. Your most important creditor
Lawyer
is your
fees.
is your
Lawyer
is
fees. Say it.
attorney fees. Okay. Now your most important creditor is your
secured.
secured
But
creditor,
with
like
that, I
your
wanna tell you,
mortgage
though,
and property taxes, and cars, and then the IRS, and then Visa and MasterCard.
On a
We don't
Chapter
do.
13, and you have lawyer fees, you're part of the schedule, right? It's
Yeah.
not like they have to come with all the
The
money
lawyer
up front.
fees
They
for doing
pay
the
it.
Chapter
No,
13.
no, the Chapter 13, the beauty of Chapter 13 is we figure out what you can afford. And your attorney's fees are built into that number.
But
so
not-
you never have to come up with money out of pocket.
But not the lawyer fees that you incurred for the estate plan 6 months ago that you didn't pay when you filed the Chapter 13
Right,
there, then
right.
you're unsecured creditor. And
Just don't die.
To wrap up this issue on the loan, my answer is no. No loan for you.
You know, let me jump in here, though, because back in the day, I did a lot of property law. If they didn't go to you, and they didn't go to you, and they didn't file the Chapter 13, and then the house is going through foreclosure, a lot of people think the house goes back to the bank. It doesn't. The bank sells the mortgage, and then it can be bought by a third party.
It's bid.
It's, well,
The bank can bid the amount of its debt
Yes, but
without
if the-
coming up with
the
any
bank,
cash.
no, the bank doesn't have to bid the amount of
Wait,
its debt. The
hands
bank
up.
can bid way under. if
Yes.
they
Listen,
so
I
choose.
drove all the way out here to throw something in here. If the mortgage is $100,000, but the house is worth $300,000, it's an overbid. Someone else will pay more for that.
If
house.
someone shows up,
There's a division. There's money owing to.
then it comes back to them.
If they get it, a lot of people put their head in the sand. They go to Florida. They're living with their mom and dad. They don't realize there's money waiting for them.
If you're foreclosed, you need to check to see who the bidder
Right.
was. You'll get a report because you get a redemption period to come up with the money. If the bid is higher, then that's the amount that has to be paid to redeem. That means the value of the house is greater than the amount of
Right.
the mortgage.
So there's money
All right,
sitting
we'll
there
take a
for
break,
'em.
then we'll come back and do Rick and Sandy case study.
It's a new year, full of hope. With hope comes the reminder that you need to protect your future and the future of your loved ones. THAV GROSS is holding a free estate planning seminar April 19th in our offices in Bingham Farms. We will discuss the importance of having a will, a trust, and powers of attorney. And yes, it's absolutely free. You need to protect yourself and avoid the probate of your assets when you pass away. To sign up, call us today at 888-235-HELP or sign up at thavgross.com.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. We've got free seminars coming up. On March 8th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., how to make credit card debt go away. We're going to go over THAV Gross's debt resolution program. This is not debt settlement. This is our special program that's a 24-month program designed to eliminate credit card debt. It's a solution without bankruptcy. We'll also talk about when bankruptcy is the right solution for you, how both systems work, how and why we can do it within 24 months, where everyone else says it's a 4-year program. Attendees receive a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Call 888-235-HELP, 888-235-HELP, or register online at thavgross.com or lawandreality.com. On Wednesday, April 19th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we all need an estate plan. Key elements of a plan, what you need to know and address, how to avoid probate, how to protect your family. Attendees receive a gold certificate for $300 off the cost of any plan. Call 888-235-HELP, 888-235-HELP, or register online at lawandreality.com. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. We still do them via tele or Zoom conference if you like, but by all means, we're doing them in office. This is the post-COVID world. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff. Again, just sign up lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go to our website to get the free reports, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself, Bankruptcy Is It Right for Me by Brian, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and Pat's Retiree's Guide to Social Security. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Simaska Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV Gross today, 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Are you in financial crisis? Do you owe too much credit card debt? Are you behind in your mortgage? Do you owe the tax man? These are the problems that many people face. Solutions exist. If you want to know what they are, come to our free seminar on March 8th in our offices in Bingham Farms. Sign up at thavgross.com or call us today at 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. And take your first step to a fresh start today. Okay, case study. Rick and Sandy, they're in their mid-60s, $60,000 a year in income. They got a house worth $180,000, mortgage of $120,000, so there's $60,000 in equity, $20,000 in furnishings, $2,000 cash in the bank, $60,000 in credit card, $15,000 in medical bills. They owe $8,800 in property taxes behind. Their income is $4,400 a month net of taxes. You take their expenses with their mortgage payment, their car payments and so forth. Their net is negative $1,100 a month. So they're behind. Their credit card payments are costing them $1,500 a month.
And that's a big problem because people don't focus on the fact that their mortgage is more important than credit cards, because the credit cards will bother the heck out of you when you're 4 minutes late. So people want to put that alarm out. The reality is that if you're making choices between what you're going to pay and what you're not going to pay, always pay to keep the roof over your head. Visa and MasterCard can wait.
You're 100% right on that, because the credit card companies call instantly and incessantly. The lenders also call, but with not as much frequency.
What's the time frame if you stop making that first payment to the credit card before you're in front of a judge on a lawsuit? How long? Because they go and they sell it and the reseller. How long do you think it is?
You know, the reality is 90% of them won't sue. The 10% that do are probably suing within.
Well, then they sue.
No.
Years down the line, though, because they
Not-
sold it and resold
They
it.
sue. That's why we do debt resolution.
I understand. No, we do debt resolution because people are behind in their debts
Yeah.
and they're over their head.
I
But
mean-
lawsuits do occur, but the big ones are suing, and it's like
Yeah, they're not going to
6-8
sue
months.
for $1,500.
Yeah, 6-8 months down the road before you get a lawsuit, but by then the hole is dug so deep
Yeah.
that if you don't have a plan to get out,
Yeah.
you have a problem.
The thing, I want to kind of go back to what you had just said because it's really critical. Is people make the mistake of paying their credit cards ahead of their car payment, ahead of their house payment. You need shelter and transportation. You don't need Visa and MasterCard. So you need to prioritize.
Let's not forget you don't need American Express and Discover also.
Yeah, to be to
The
be
worst
fair to
case
all
we
of them.
had,
Let's be fair.
son
Right.
got involved with mom, and she had $45,000 in credit card debt, so he refinances her house to pay off the credit card debt. So now he's got a home equity loan for $45,000, and then she passes away, and the loan is on the house, but the credit cards are paid off.
It is
Completely. And he was so proud of the fact that he
every
did it.
mortgage broker wants to refinance your house, take the equity, pay off your credit cards, and tell you that it's the greatest thing since
Sliced bread.
sliced bread. And conceptually, the pitch is you're paying 18 to 20% on your credit cards. Your second mortgage is going to be 6 to 9%.
20,
And you're spreading it
now.
over time, and you get yourself caught up. Conceptually, that makes sense. The problem is there's a better alternative to getting rid of the credit card debt, and the most important thing in the 3-point retirement plan is get your house paid off. And if you keep refinancing your house, there's a certainty you'll never get it paid off.
Well,
If you don't get it paid off and you're 60, you're in trouble.
with
So
Rick
take
and
us through with
Sandy,
Rick
though-
and Sandy. How
So-
do they end up in the Chapter 13?
So they go from being $1,167 in the red with their credit cards costing them $1,500 to utilizing the $333 positive they really are if they didn't have the credit card debt. And we take that and we plug that into the Chapter 13 and we utilize that to pay the property taxes that they're behind on. That's the most important debt because
And
they're
the mortgage
current on-
payment?
Well, they're current on their mortgage, so they're going to continue to pay that directly.
Well, they were 8,800 behind.
They were I'm
98.
sorry, I thought that was the property taxes. But
Yeah.
so fine, we pay the mortgage payment plus the $333 into the Chapter 13. It catches the house up, it catches the property taxes up, and it pays Visa and MasterCard zero.
So at the end of the day, they're cash plus during the Chapter 13, and when the 13's over, they're cash plus even more.
Yeah,
And they get to keep the house, and the stress is gone, and they're fine. And that's the only solution for them to stop the foreclosure.
either that or find a bag of money that fell off the back of a truck.
On that note, we'll all say goodbye. Have a great week. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week with Law and Reality.